Now let's look at this tag feed and think about how are we going to actually represent the particular tag that you have selected. Well, right now, the way that we're doing that is we have a tab, which is going to now be of type tab. And then we have, you may recall from our previous exercises, this string called selected tag. And when you click on one of the tags, we made it so that selected tag gets updated to be whatever that particular string is of the tag that you clicked on. But if you think about it, selected tag only makes sense if you've actually selected a tag. Like if I click on one of these, the new behavior is going to be, we want to switch to a tag feed and set selected tag. But if I switch to global feed or your feed, we want to deselect the tag. We no longer want to have any selected tag. So like, what are we going to do with this value? Well, it's still there on the model, so we could like clear it out. We could make it be empty string if you don't have a particular tag selected, or we could just have it be there and just stale and just try to ignore it. But it'd be nice if it were sort of only there in context. In other words, it were only possible to have a selected tag when we're actually showing the tag feed. Because those two are linked, it would be nice to link them in our data model. So how can we link them? Well, like this. We can actually add a parameter to tag feed that says tag feed not only specifies that we're on that particular type of feed, but also there's some additional information in there. There's a string that goes along with that. So if we do it this way, then tag feed goes from being a value of type tab to a function that returns a tab. So if we were in Elm REPL, we would call that function like this. We would call tag feed. This is now a function with a capital letter at the beginning. First time we've seen that. Call tag feed, passing the string happiness. And now it'll give us back one of these tag feeds that's got that string of happiness inside of it, and that is of type tab. If we were to just pass tag feed directly into Elm REPL, it would say, oh, what you've got there is a function which takes a string and returns a tab. In contrast, if we put your feed in there, it's going to say that's a tab, global feed, that's a tab, tag feed, that's a function. Okay, so here's how those sort of relate. Like if I say yours, that is of type tab, that's your feed. Happiness is a tab. To get one of those, if I want to get a tab value, I have to call tag feed passing happiness. Okay, so once I've done that, I've obtained this tag feed that has this string stored inside of it. Here's how we get it back out. Same case expression as before, but now we've added something to the tag feed case. We're saying tag feed space and then a lowercase letter variable name, selected tag. I've happened to decide to name it selected tag right now. This works a lot like function arguments, except sort of in reverse, where we're saying I have a value that holds onto this thing. I want to extract that value and give it a name. Pull out that string and say, from now on, inside the scope of this branch of the case expression, we now have a thing called selected tag, and it is that string. We can now work with that. So based on this, we can say, in the case of your feed, we don't have that selected tag string. It doesn't exist. Global feed, same thing, does not exist. Can't possibly access it. We only have that selected tag accessible if we're on the tag feed, in which case we have it and we name it. This is why there's a distinction between capitalized and uncapitalized things in Elm. If we had tag feed and then a capital S selected tag, what we'd be saying is, I have a tag feed which contains some custom type variant called selected tag. Lowercase means it's a variable. I'm giving this a new name, and just like all other variables, function arguments, etc., that all have lowercase names, I'm saying, yeah, I'm not saying that this is a particular value. I'm saying, I don't know what that value is, but give it this name, and I'm going to do something with it. So we've essentially gone from having tab be an enumeration, which is what it was before, now it's a container. It's a container that situationally holds additional information, only in the case that we're on a tag feed. But, as you can imagine, we can do a lot more custom stuff than even this. We could give tag feed multiple values that it's storing. We could have tag feed store a record. We could have global feed store a record or a list of records. Any combination of things that we want. Any of these can specify as much or as little data as they want to hold on to. We can sort of make custom shapes for our data to fit our use case perfectly and to do things like linking up this relationship between the selected tag and which tab we're on at the data model level. Cool. So Evan, the creator of Elm, wrote that he considers custom types to be the most important feature in Elm. And as we'll see in the advanced workshop, there's a pretty deep rabbit hole of like implications and really cool stuff you can do with just the stuff that we just learned. We're not going to dive into that rabbit hole today because this is the intro course, but it's worth knowing, I think, that there's quite a lot of cool stuff that you can do with this that's not necessarily obvious given how simply we're using it here.